Hey folks, thanks for joining me once again for another episode of SwillinGrog's Wonderful World of Beer. This time around we'll be having a look at this brew here, Guinness West Indies Porter, which comes in at 6% alcohol by volume, and it's brewed and bottled at the St James's Gate Brewery in Dublin, Ireland. Now, I've never tried this before. It was only very recently that it showed up on the shelves at Dan Murphy's, so I grabbed a couple of bottles to check it out, and here I am sharing the experience with you all. So without further ado, let me crack off the cap, and I'll pour it out into this Spiegelau stout glass, and we'll make an assessment of it. Oh, that head's going to be very creamy now. I can see that. Okay. Alright, well, as you can see, we've got a very thick tan head there. Looks absolutely beautiful. And on camera, yeah, that is looking very, very dark. Well, the appearance is looking very, very dark brown, but when I actually hold it up to the light, it has a ruby sort of a hue to it, interestingly enough. But I can see that it's looking very very dark brown on camera there, almost black. Alright, so on to the aroma. Okay, interesting. Getting a little bit of caramel and a little bit of sort of chocolate, interestingly. Yeah, very interesting. Alright, I don't know what to expect of this one, actually. Alright, so we've talked about the appearance, and we've talked about the aroma. And that can only mean it's time for the most important part of the review, the taste test. So cheers to you all. Let's dive in. All right, well, yeah, the taste really does follow the nose. I'm getting well, a huge, malt hit to start with, and I'm tasting a lot of caramel and chocolatey flavors. Not so much coffee flavors that I was kind of expecting from this. And in terms of the bitterness, it's very minimal, much like a coffee sort of espresso coffee bitterness there in the finish. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very malt forward brew. But on that note, I must have another gulp, folks, because this is my first beer for the day, and I'm really quite thirsty. All right, well, yeah, that taste profile's holding, but yeah, it's a little bit on the watery side, surprisingly. It's quite thin and not as full-bodied as I was expecting. Yeah, I mean, a beer like this that's 6% ABV, I would expect to be a very big, bold sort of a brew. But yeah, it's not that. It's probably taste-wise less exciting than Guinness Draft, and yeah, I know that's really hard to believe, folks, but that's unfortunately how I'm feeling about this. I mean, it's I guess flavour-wise, there's nothing really offensive about it, but yeah, it's just not as big and bold as I would have hoped for. Anyway, yeah, let me have another gulp. All right, well, one thing that really lets it down, I think, is the price point. Yeah, I think what they were asking for just a case of 12 bottles was absolutely ludicrous. I think it was somewhere between $50 and $60 if memory serves, and just a single bottle like this, they were asking $7.99. So yeah, I mean, unless you're really dead keen to try it, yeah, it's perhaps some better choices out there for porters. Yeah, if you don't want to spend too much money. All right, well, let me have one last gulp and give this score out of 10. All right, well, all in all, it's not too bad, although it's really leaning towards being quite disappointing. Like I said, there's nothing offensive about it flavor-wise, but it's sort of lacking, in the flavor department. As I also said, it's just not as big and bold as you would expect. So I probably won't be checking this one out again, and it's not something that I could recommend to you all. So in terms of a score out of 10 for Guinness West Indies Porter, I would have to give it a 5.5 out of 10. Alright, so there you go, folks. A 5.5 out of 10 for Guinness West Indies Porter. So, I'm just going to kick back and drink the rest of this. No, I'm not going to let it go to waste. Alright, so I should be back real soon, though, with another review for you all. So, until then, fare thee well, all.